let's talk about historical femininity, and let's try to trim this video down a little bit because I just went off on the last one. Theory. Now please feel free to throw rocks at this because I'd like to develop it into a really good solid theory, and I appreciate your input here. Masculinity has been replaced by government. The basic functions of masculinity have been replaced by gradual government overreach. The functions of femininity, traditional functions of femininity, have been gradually replaced by commercial overreach. I'm not going to say that we live in a world where we can do entirely without either government or commerce, but we have become completely dependent on both of them. Because we were in a place where, once upon a time, a long time ago, in the time of myth and legend, because it also is a little bit like that, really, but where we required police and jails and government to take care of things when our menfolk could not, or when the care that the menfolk could give would be messier than necessary. So, nobody really wants people taking policing into their own hands. Messy. It's messy really fast. So we don't do that. There's these pesky things called wars, and you need all the men to get together and deal with that. That kind of thing. So we have governments for these things, and governments, come in and help the poor and unfortunate when society has dropped the ball, or when they don't have family, when they don't have community to come alongside them. In a really, really ideal situation, we have very minimal government because that's not necessary. In an ideal situation, we are making much of what we consume because it's good for us to do so. We are creative. We were created to be creative, and that's of benefit to us. Men and women both like to create. Women are built to manage. We manage things beautifully when we are at our best, and we manage multiple resource streams, and figure out who needs what, where, when, why. And as we progress through our lives, we progress through different kinds of care provision, and et cetera. We're very hands-on, and that hands-on thing is really one of our primary strengths. What's happened with commerce, specific to femininity, is that commerce in this day and age has managed to convince us of two things. One, that many of the things that we do, or we used to do, are very, very unimportant, menial. Menial's a big word. They're less than. They're less than the work that men do. Unimportant, optional, recreational, and sometimes simultaneously, and the simultaneous is really, really impressive as far as propaganda is concerned. Gotta give points. Simultaneously, something that can only really be done well by a professional. Not only is it menial, but you're incompetent to do it properly. But you're amazing, and you just are wasted at home. I'm not sure how we managed to get all of those ideas in the head at the same time. They don't seem like they'd fit, but we do. We have problems. And so one of the things I'm talking about with historical femininity is that it's balderdash. So not that I want to go back to DIYing everything. There's a part of me. There's a part of me that just really, really wants to go homestead. But then there's another part of me who's like, hey girl, you're 48. You do not have time to be milking a cow and dealing with a garden and dealing with a full farm, making all your clothes from, you just know. There's more than one woman's job. I'm like, yeah, reality check. So, I have a friend online that calls that LARPing, and it totally is. It kind of totally is. None of those are bad things to do, though, and, if I someday run off and start milking cows, and you'll know that I'm happy. Just know that I'm happy with the cows. But it's not, my point is not, and has never been, and I want to make this really clear, we need to go back to that. What we need to go back to is the confidence that we are competent at these tasks and that these tasks are necessary and meaningful. That your care of your elder, your overseeing of that care, your personal oversight of that care, your teamwork with a family is meaningful and worthwhile. That your care of your small children, your education of them, your nurturing of them, your knowing of their individual selves and what they need to grow and thrive is worthwhile. You know fabric, life, all the things you need to know about your family, your needs, and how to clothe them properly. What your resources are is including money, time, skills, etc. That all these things are important, that managing not just a household, but community involvement. That is also a very big chunk of women's work, especially women my age. I'm 48. My kids are going to be out of the house within 5 years. Like, emptiness situation here going on. What would I be doing historically? Historically, I might have a couple more kids coming up. I might not. But even so, historically, if I did have a couple more kids coming up, they would probably be leaving the home a little earlier. And even so, as they're older, I don't need to be as involved in their care, so what am I doing? This is the time historically I would be more and more involved in the community. So also I'm going to be doing more elder care. So I'm going to be looking at, Betty down the road, she needs help with the baby this week. I'm just going to swing over there and I'm going to bring her a casserole, and then I'm just going to hang out Wednesday afternoon and let her sleep. I can do that a couple days this week, maybe a day next week, and I've got a couple. And I told my friends that, and so we all know that Betty needs that, so there's a bunch of us that are kind of cycling in. And so Betty's in much better shape, and there's just a couple of us, kind of taking care of things on the QT, sweeping the floors and, making sure other kids get to school and that kind of thing. We step up to this. Well, the thing is, if we accept that our efforts, that all of these things that we have done from time immemorial are worthless, optional, menial, meaningless, and that we're not good enough to do all those things, if we accept that, then the best thing, in fact, we can do is go off and earn money to pay someone else to do those things. Someone better qualified if it costs less money. Again, it hurts the head. I'm going to take one single thing right now. Cake. Elspeth on this channel, she used to be a home professional baker. She sold her cakes professionally. I have seen the cake that she and her eldest daughter make. Oh my gosh. Food magazine worthy. Just insanity. Just description, you're going, ah. All right, amazing food, and I am proud of her. She's worked hard for that. Her eldest has worked hard for that. All props. I don't bake like that, but I'm a good baker. And when people come to my house and eat my cake, they're always like, oh wow, this is so good. But see, the thing is, the friends I know, they pretty much don't do what I do and just make a cake and put some frosting on it and go on with life. They either are hardcore, like Els, and I've got another friend who like does semi-professional baking, just like she like cupcakes, just cupcakes, and she's got like her own recipes, and she does these decorations, and it's just insanity, right? People are either way over in like the land of professionalism, because both Els and my other friend sell their work, or it's I'm going to buy a boxed cake from Costco. There are very few of us who are just like, hey, I made cake, eat cake. Cake is very easy to make. I've been baking cakes from scratch since I was 10, 12, by myself. You know what really gets raves? I'll just give you a little secret here. That cake on the back of the Hershey's Cocoa Box, especially that frosting recipe, never fails you. So easy. So easy. Make it. Tell me what you think. But that's the thing. Nobody says, oh, hey, it's somebody's birthday. I'm just going to make that Hershey's cake. And everybody's going to say what they say to me, which is like, wow, this is really good. Because it's not good enough. What you can do isn't good enough. So you either are going to pay somebody a whole lot of money as a professional and think, oh, I can never do that. Or you're going to just like, cake, I don't do cake. Oh, no. I'm just going to buy a cake. There's no room for just cake. And forget making cake because you've got some friends coming over and you want cake. I mean, that's gone. We don't do that. I've got old recipe books, I mean, like, literally 50 recipes, 100 recipes for different kinds of cake. For different occasions. And you wouldn't make some of this cake for most birthdays. I mean, but you just had cake. You just had cake. Because cake's good. I like cake a little too much. But cake is good. Cake is good. We don't make cake. Why don't we make cake? It's not because it's hard. They're really, really not hard. I mean, you can go hard mode, but basically cake's really cake. It's cake, and we don't do cake because we're not good enough to do cake. We've let it in here, and we're not good enough to do cake. If we want to change, we want to take back what was ours. It starts by saying, what I do is good enough. Or if it's not good enough, let me gather the skills to get up to a certain level. And let me put my expectations to that level. Because it's also a thing where, if you're expecting something that looks like it came out of professional bakery, it's not going to be that way. I mean, my cakes don't look like the cakes from Costco because I don't make little roses and stuff. My frosting tastes a whole lot better, but it doesn't look like that. But nobody expects it to look like that. They just expect to eat good cake. So, we need to figure out that we're really contributing something, that femininity is meaningful, that what we do is meaningful. And if we can't accept that, then we're going to let femininity go. And we're going to say, oh, great gods of commerce, please take everything I love to do, everything that's important to me. I'm just going to serve mammon. I'm only going to pursue the acquisition of money so that I can give my money to you, because what I do is not good enough. My care of my elders is not good enough. My care of my children is not good enough. My baking of cakes is not good enough. It's not about taking all of this back. No one of us can bear all of this at the same time. But it is understanding that we are competent, that we can manage all of this, but it is a meaningful job, is a meaningful responsibility, and it takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes skill. You know, we're talking historically, there used to be something called a good manager of her household. I'm not, that sounds like the Proverbs 31 woman, but it's in any number of books from times past talking about older women in praise because they were good at taking care of their business. We decided to throw that in the trash and make femininity only about lipstick. Obviously, I'm not lipstick against, but being a woman's a lot more than lipstick. Talk to you later. We will dig and we will dig. I hope you're enjoying these. Bye.